Hey everyone, welcome back to my weekly Let's Try series. This time we're going to be checking out Void Dreaming, which just came out, I think, like last week, or this week even. Void Dreaming contains material suitable for adult readers, such as sexual content, violent content, and discussion of such topics. A full list of content and subjects that may be encountered in the course of the story may be reviewed from the main menu. Reader discretion is advised. Let's go right back there and do that. Also... Text speed 100% makes me anxious. I don't like it. Here are the warnings if you would like the warnings. To pause to read the warnings. Mrs. Junk! When your junk is worth a warning. Is that a badge of honor? I understand I am of age to view this material and wish to continue. You can skip the prologue, that's interesting. I wonder what the use for that will be, like if there's like a level of gameplay in it that you wouldn't want to have to skip through manually. Would you like to disable meta text tutorials for various functions in the story? Okay, there's a lot going on here. This is not recommended for first-time readers. No. Let's find out what this means. Meta text tutorials will show up to explain new systems in the story. Damn. It's been a while, hasn't it? A long time since you've been on a station this dingy. This busted. This worn down. Varego, wasn't it? Varego Station. The rattle of their CO2 scrubbers just about kept you up all night. Thank the stars it was just one night. In that they at least had functional CO2 scrubbers. These ones sound like they're about to fail at any minute. Oof. Sorry. The links came out of nowhere, slamming into your side hard enough to almost knock you over. Good thing you're made of stiffer stuff than that. You just got pickpocketed, didn't you? Watch it, Ruster. Ass. It's not worth replying. Bastard's already hurried on his way. Ruster isn't a slur you've heard in a while, at least. Nice of the locals to keep it colorful for you. A quick pat to your side reveals your pistol and reader are still attached to your belt. Can't be too careful on a Fringe station, especially given how long it's been since you've set foot on one. You wince. You got mugged last time. History better not repeat. Parting the sea of people isn't too difficult for you as you make your way towards what you hope is the rendezvous. If your contact's information was right, it should almost be in sight. The rattle of the nearby scrubbers dies as they do. Your nostrils twitch. It better be the rendezvous. The corridor opens to a larger cylindrical bay. You know from your arrival that massive mining ships can fit in the docking pads scattered around the Taurus. Stars glitter behind the MagCon field, but there's no sign of your transport. Freighters, miners, a couple of small attack craft, pirates, you don't doubt. Brazen. But not your contact ship. Nothing that screams deep space exploration vessel anyway. Nor your contact. Aw, he's cute! He can't possibly have any ill intent. Look at the rat husband. A glance around shows no one familiar, but within moments you spot a shortish rat. His eyes are on you, grinning a friendly, easy smile. A paw lifts to wave in your direction. His clothes are a bit disheveled, but you've seen Astrogation Guild members look scruffier. Probably hard to keep clean this far away from civilization. You nod and start to make your way over to him. The sooner you're off the scrap heap, the better. Your paw brushes along your hip to feel for your pistol. Best to be prepared, after all, just in case. It always feels like a contradiction. It happens a lot in sci-fi stuff. Like it happened plenty in, oh god, what's it called? The Expanse? Man, I'm a few seasons out of date by now, I think. I think I might have finished. I left off when they really awkwardly had to write out, was probably my favorite character at the time because apparently the actor was a sex offender or something, and I'm like, welp. And they had to write him out after the season was already filmed, which is always a rough way to change something. But yeah, it's not like a plot hole or anything, but it's like, it's always interesting to have to reconcile in your brain. Like, they have this all the sci-fi tech, you're in space, you're on a thing that has to like be of a certain quality in order for people to live on it, because if there's a breach or the oxygen scrubbers die, or even just the engines tied to that stuff stop working, everyone dies, that's it. But no one has like a shower. You're like, damn, I mean, I guess it can happen, yeah, but it's hard. Your brain is like, but the tech is, there's so much tech there that is working. How did it get this way? No. Your paw brushes along the hip to feel for your pistol. Best to be prepared, after all, just in case. I was starting to think you got turned around. You grimace and nod to yourself. You were starting to wonder the exact same. At least he seems friendly. But this is Yakeshi Station. You can't trust anything, or anyone, at face value. Well, I'm here now, Zuberi, I presume. Oh. Well, nothing personal, kid. The rat grins wider, but the smile turns to a gasp of pain as a much, much larger paw closes around his. You wince in sympathy. The new paw belongs to another wolf. This one, darker furred, broader shouldered, wrapped in a long gray coat, and not even remotely close to pleased. Shit. So the rat was a con jobber after all. Doesn't mean this wolf isn't one as well, but best to see how this plays out before you relax. Your paw inches towards your pistol. Dust off, Scav. Now. I got tased or stabbed or something given the placement of the characters. His eyes are locked on the rat as he speaks. Your fingers close around the grip of your pistol. It might be small, but so much the better in a confined space. The people around you are watching on with interest, but none of them are moving to interfere as the rat gasps. The paw wrapped around his tightens its grip as he writhes. Just another day on a Fringe station, you guess. Alright, just let go. Stars, you're gonna break my paw. The sprite art is great on these. Very expressive. Very expressive, but simple enough to be able to like keep redrawing it and so on and have it be readable. Your paw remains firmly on your weapon as the wolf glares down at the rat, but he does as he's asked and releases his prey. The rat squeaks once and stumbles back from him. As the rat pulls away, you can see the wolf was holding a considerably higher grade pistol than yours in his other paw. It must have been shoved into the rat's side. That's why he looked like he got tased, basically. Not that it was necessarily used, but like that's a thing to react to. You try hard not to feel pistol envy. That's right, this wolf has a bigger dick than you. What are you gonna do about that, protagonist? On some level, you find yourself failing. Better hope you ain't flying this way again, Starhopper. Look at those giant teeth on both of them. The wolf doesn't reply. He simply keeps his pistol trained on the rat, teeth barred. It is very fun to try to figure out how to draw anthro teeth and how to like figure out how to do like snarls and kind of closed jaw, lips up stuff. It's like you really have to make choices and commit to them. just trying to wing it as you go. You're like, you get the indecision will fuck you up because it's a balance. Everything has to like look correct compared to each other. There's always the question of like, how do you handle the fact that teeth that are longer than human teeth are weird and like interlock and they all kind of like lean in a direction. They usually don't point just straight down. They kind of point kind of sort of backwards in the mouth. And I've been thinking about this too much lately because I keep drawing teeth, but it's like one of the solutions is often to, especially when you get to the front of the mouth, you just draw like a line to make it. Part of it is that like wolf teeth are not less detailed in the front than the rest of the mouth, but they are the most human there, because they kind of are just a series of teeth that more or less line up with each other, and trying to like articulate it will look really goofy. It'll look like your character's wearing braces, basically, if you try to draw the teeth, and if at some point you're just like, just draw a line, it's fine, we're good. You can see the fun with the 3D going on here, because the fangs on the top are larger and overhang past the ones in the front, so you have this aspect of like how it kind of shields the front fangs on the side facing us, but then on the side away from us you can see the larger fang on the top sticking out around the jaw at the profile. Anyway, this is a whole different planet. You give me a sprite and I'm just like, here we are. And here you have a bunch of tasteful pants straining wrinkles, all pointing at the object of interest, because furry. He follows the rat with his eyes until he's well and truly out of sight. Your own gaze tracks around. If the rat wasn't your contact, he might have a backup nearby. You should really know who you're trying to meet first. Oh, he's got way more belly than initially apparent. I like the use of a sprite transition. That's always fun. No one else is moving on either of you though, and the pistol lowers as he turns back towards you. His eyes tighten, and as he looks you up and down, ears twitching back as he frowns for a moment. His footsteps are heavy on the deck, boots clanking on the metal floor as he makes his way over. He still seems wary of you. You can't blame him. Rael, right? Didn't get warned about the scavs. He knows your name, which makes him a little more likely to be your contact. Can't be too careful, but hey, let's see how this introduction goes. You sag a little bit and release your grip on your pistol. It's been a while since I've been on a Fringe station. Rookie mistake. I guess you're the captain I'm to meet. He didn't mess up that bad. He was suspecting the rat, but he was like, I would hope they had some level of handshake to go through, but maybe he was just gonna fucking, like, well, this guy seems friendly, he must be it. The wolf's smile beams far too bright for such a dismal setting as he holsters his pistol. And that's where it all went wrong. That smile. That damn smile. That's me. Zuberi. Of the Void Dreamer. Well, he said the thing, roll credits. His eyes dipped to your paw, still close to your pistol. The name and the ship are right, at least. If he's not the contact, then he's got all their data. As he steps in front of you, he offers his newly emptied paw. You hesitate before you grip it. His squeeze is firm but gentle. There's a trace of the strength that nearly broke that rat's paw. Good to put a face to the name. I was surprised when the guild approved your transfer out here. His tone's friendly, but his eyes are sharp as a monoblade. They focus in on you hard. Well, to be honest, I don't know that I ever thought I'd be climbing aboard an Astrogation Guild vessel. Understatement of the era, that one. Yeah, speaking of. You watch as the wolf pulls a reader from his pocket. The screen of the device lights up, and he begins to tap at it. Look, I'm gonna be straight with you here. No! Anyway, I don't not trust you, but it's Yakeshi Station. Mind if I go over my data? Make sure you're who you say you are. Y'all really need to get your handshakes right. Not literal handshakes. You wish you'd had more than a name and a ship to go on yourself. It's like you were being set up to fail. You probably were, given that the author wrote the scene to set up the scene where you are wrong and then you are corrected. Well, everything. No, go ahead. You look around. The crowds are mounting. But maybe somewhere a bit quieter. Oh my god, giant laughing jaw. Enjoy, maw appreciators. The wolf laughs to himself and nods, tucking the reader back into his pocket. Reasonable. Not sure I can offer a real quiet, but until we're pushing off. Not until we're pushing off. But I need to go find my engineer, I think, before they get into trouble. He turns away without another word, and you hurry along after him. He makes for a side corridor, and you fall into step beside him. At least the mass of bodies is thinner here. And judging by the rattling in the wall vents, the scrubbers here are still working. Small favors. At least the basics are in order. Stars. I wish they at least gave me a still to look at. Nothing's ever easy. Seems like you're not the only one set up to fail here. Maybe this is a good match after all. The wolf looks up from his reader for a moment. Well, they got the species right. It'll be nice to have another wolf aboard. Your fur's a bit lighter than mine, but close enough's good enough for me. I didn't know we had to coordinate my fur. Should I get some gray dye? Hey, now, don't be rude. I could still leave you behind, you know. I think I misread someone's line as somebody else's line earlier because they're both blue. You look around the station corridor. You can't think of many worse fates. I only meant that you look distinguished, refined. Daddy. Good save. But I just meant that if I start shedding, I can blame you. Oh, good. I love playing the Scape Wolf. Blue Sky / Twitter's the Scape Wolf? Who might be watching this? And continuing the common trends, you're listed as male. He glances your way and looks at you up and down. Unless... Nope, male is fine. Wetware's all stock too. What a sentence to say. You bite your tongue. You also considered playing with that. And biomodding could be fun, but everyone has those thoughts, right? Right. 12-foot horse dong. Maybe one day you'll get adventurous and act on them, but not today. Zuberi seemed satisfied with your answer. Age here is not listed, if you don't mind my asking. 28, standard, no biolock. That draws a frown from the older wolf. No? I thought most people had their first biolock in their early to mid-20s. Well, if you got my file, you know things are a bit more complicated than that. Yeah, fair. Can't argue with that, can I? A biolock? Like you stop aging at a certain age when you engage the biolock is the implication that I'm getting from that? But you're supposed to be older. You're distinguished. So do you not have a biolock? Or did they invent biolocks when you were this age already? How old are you? Are you 300? How old are people in the setting? Immediately I'm like, hang on. Yeah, fair. Can't argue with that, can I? He scrolls down the data on his reader and clicks his tongue. Says you're not a Cyb. Installed any hardware I should worry about? Just thinking that people that are into dads are like gonna be so upset by there being an entire universe where everyone's permanently 22 years old. Nothing weaponized, just a bioregulator and a standard MMI neural socket, all over the counter cyberware. Fair enough. Eyes yellow, that's spot on, but hey, those could be implants. Height looks right too, at least compared to me. We're kind of highlighting the struggle with identifying people based on appearance in a setting where people can just change their appearance, aren't we? Not the best ID system. I'll trust the file on your weight, bit rude to ask someone that. Is it? You let your gaze drop slightly to take in the wolf's midsection. He's definitely thicker than you are, even if his body's well defined. It's more than fat, you have no doubt. He's also watching you watch him. You say nothing. Well, that's the basics. That leaves a couple matters to attend to, so let's go over the ground rules right now. You blink. Weren't you meant to be confirming his data and your identity? What ground rules? This is Yakeshi Station. I don't doubt you know its rep. If you hadn't, the almost The almost incident with the rat would have done it for you. If you never see the station again, it'll be too soon. This isn't dialogue. If you hadn't, the almost incident with the rat would have done it for you. If you never see the station again, it'll be too soon. You nod. I'm not messing around here a millisecond longer than I need to. That means if you're coming aboard my ship, you know what that means right here, right now. I'll ask you questions. You'll answer them honest. They match the data, you're on my crew. They don't, you're on your ass. They don't and you push it, you'll suck vac. That means you go in space, but not for fun. There's not even a hint of humor in his voice. The warmth of his greeting is gone. Zuberi's all business now, and you don't doubt a word of what he's saying. Your ship, your rules. He turns his head back towards you and there's a crack of a smile. Good. Sounds like we'll get on just fine then. How about we start at the beginning? Origin choices give you the chance to define the course of Rael's life before this point. These open up additional unique dialogue options with the various characters throughout the story that are closed to other origin choices. Your origin choices also define Rael's base skill ranks across 6 skills: physical, mind, technology, starships, social, and weapons. Origin dialogue choices have no negative consequences. Skill checks, however, may fail if Rael is not sufficiently skilled. That is fascinating and terrifying. I wonder how granular this gets. Like, is there always a success path? Can you completely screw yourself and have to like load an old save and figure out a different route entirely? And also, is the author ready for that level of like granularity and like having to write basically an RPG? Because not a lot of furry visual novels writers have been ready for that task. At first I was like, oh, it'll be like Mass Effect. You pick your background and then there'll be a couple plot hooks where like, you are a spacer. You were from Earth. You were that one... Wow, I played Mass Effect 1 like 7 times back in the day, but now I can't remember the exact... Is it a cruise? Did he lose his crew on a cruise? His squad on a cruise? I think it was a cruise. and it gets brought up like once per game. You're like, right, my squad I lost on a cruise. Or if you grew up on the streets of Earth, you get accosted right outside of the club. Flux? Is it Flux? By people that know your backstory, and they're gonna blackmail you over it. Then you punch them, and they never come back. Commander Shepard had that Cosmic Kiryu power where he punches people, and then they just change their mind forever. Your file told me where you grew up. Care to remind me? It's a test, but except every answer is retroactively correct. Spacer, you were born and raised in the Black. Colonist. The first natural birth on Charisi Major, actually. Core worlder, deep core. You came up on Tordera. Interesting. It's fairly similar to the roles that you have basically in The Expanse. You have the people that grew up on Earth, you have the people that grew up in the colonies, and then you have the people who grew up in like the Rim. And the people in the Rim are so far out there, and they're all living on spaceships, and they're used to low gravity to the point where like just bringing them to Earth and forcing them in certain positions like is torture, because their muscular skeletal system isn't ready for that level of gravity. That's a great show. It's fucked up though. There's a lot of fucked up things in it. I need to catch up on it. Let's see. First natural birth on Charisi Major might mean that you've never been to the equivalents of Earth and so on. Assuming this is the original solar system, or like if Tordera is the beginning of the group. Core Worlder says multiple cores, though. Deep core. That does say that does suggest there's a lot more cores. So it just might be all of the developed worlds that feel I guess, more or less, like, permanent and finished, as opposed to colonists would be, like, frontiersmen, essentially. And then spacers are just straight up just on ships like the Quarians and whatnot. I'm really bouncing back and forth between the Expanse and Mass Effect here. Let's be a confused colonist, like, or not confused, but somebody who's like specifically is like not being at the home of this. I can't say species because there's so many different animals, but not being at the core of the civilization is the norm. Born and raised dirt side on Chari C Major. First natural born too. No VATS. Full G. Beat out a girl named Nisa by 3 minutes. Zuberi nods. He looks you up and down. You definitely got that full G swagger about you. Swagger? Yeah, you know. The wolf affects a wider stance with more heavy footfalls. You stifle a laugh. Full G births just handle natural grav different, you know? Or maybe you don't, if you've not spent a lot of time in the black. Oh, I've spent a lot of time in space. Not sure I've ever swaggered anywhere, though. Well, there's always a first time for everything, right? Zuberi looks around himself and you follow his gaze. There's a shop stall set up nearby. A rabbit in stained brown coveralls is arguing with the leonine shopkeep. The wolf makes his way over to a small bench just across the corridor from the debate, and you follow along. What an interesting challenge to give yourself 3 different origins at the beginning of the game, because they can really change who you are as a person. So the question is how much you're going to hook out into that. Like, are you going to have designated spots where it's just like, ah, yes, my backstory, and then you just plug in the 3 different versions of what they say? Or do you, like, because when I think about that, I definitely think like, oh, you got to be really mindful of how your background would change your character, and then you need to like constantly be thinking about that, because there's moments where maybe exactly one of those backgrounds would come up and there'd be a bunch of new dialogue just for that one new role, and then not the other ones. But then you have the additional challenge of not letting it diverge too much, because if it diverges, then you can't rejoin the paths and then go back to just pushing the one storyline. It's real risky. But I say this knowing full well that, like, BioWare doesn't even do it. Like, so it's hard to hold it against anyone that much if it doesn't commit that hard, because, like, almost nobody commits that hard, basically all the way up until Baldur's Gate 3 came out. And, like, that is one of the few games, and this really came up when we were playing and Toaster was playing as a Gith and so on, where, like, him being a Gith really felt like it was a huge deal for his playthrough, more so than me being an orc or a druid. But like him being a Gith was like shockingly integrated and had so many chances, to the point where it's like you forget that you kind of even lose track of the idea that it's even slotting in and out, and that he has like normal-ish dialogue that is technically everyone's dialogue throughout, because of how Githy it all got. Not the quietest place to sit, but I kind of want to see how this plays out. You frown. The argument between the shopkeep and his customer? It's a Fringe station. A gun will get pulled if they keep this up. True, but hopefully it won't come to that. How about you tell me a bit more about yourself? It's clearly not a question. He's turned towards you, an ear and eyebrow both perked. You also can't help but notice his pistol paw is free. It would be quick to draw and fire on you. You suppose his earlier threat still stands. You file out some information about your adolescence. Made for an interesting read, though not as interesting as what came next. A punk, a dreamer, or a tech student? Punk, hellraiser extraordinaire. Dreamer, always had your head in the clouds. Tech student, they didn't use gifted and talented lightly. Gifted and the fucking GATE program. Jesus Christ. The GATE program is probably part of the reason why I'm not, like, well socialized as, like, a human being. Oh, he's so good at school, let's remove him from all the other students. Always had your head in the clouds, or Hellraiser extraordinaire. Let's make him a punk ass, that could be fun. I don't know. I got up to a lot of shit when I was younger. Did a lot of things I'm not proud of. Some that I am. You pause as Zuberi's muzzle quirks into a little smile. Okay. He saw right through that. This wolf's sharper than he looks. Those teeth look sharp. Okay, I did a lot of things I am proud of too. Thank you. I was like, if that doesn't come up, it needs to be added. And which one was the security services? Quad rotor again? What, did he drive it towards a cliff while playing Sabotage by the Beastie Boys? The memory of the quad rotor tipped on its side and a blaze stirs a smile to your own muzzle. Your friends owed you big for getting them out of that one. A little bit of both, I guess? They started it after all, I just finished it. The arrest warrant sure didn't say so. When does it ever? Good point. I can trust you not to set my ship on fire though, right? You can't help but flash him a cheeky grin. Of course he can trust you not to set his ship on fire. But where's the fun if he knows that? You're not going to set my ship on fire though, right? No, burning stars, no, I'm not going to set your ship on fire. The wolf sighs, but it's the smile on his muzzle that convinces you he was only joking. Good. I like a bit of attitude on my crew, as long as it doesn't wreck my ship. You hold up your paw and flash your sweetest smile. I solemnly swear that to only set fire to things you tell me to set fire to. I'm gonna have to have Oba increase the sensitivity of your suppressor systems. Of the suppressor systems. Zuberi leans back against the bench. His eyes flick briefly back to the confrontation between shopkeeper and the rabbit. You're all but certain that this man must be the wolf's engineer, but you've not yet figured out why Zuberi is not getting involved. Before you can open your mouth to ask, however, Zuberi's eyes are on you again. Well, everything's in order so far, but now, I guess, we'll come to the meat of it. You gulp. His smile is jovial, but there's wariness in his voice, like he doesn't know what to expect, like he's waiting for something to happen. Now, so are you. Don't let anyone aboard my ship, Rael. Every one of my crew is tried and tested member of the Astrogation Guild. Or someone that I've vetted personally. When I heard that your introduction to the guild, I'm getting slight details really wrong here and there. When I heard about your introduction to the guild, well, I had to see it for myself. What can I say? I was intrigued, curious. Oh boy, here we go. But curiosity only goes so far. I know why I chose for you to come with me. So I want to hear the story from you. What brought you here? What brought you here? Ex-pirate? Shit. Colonial administrator? Fuck. Innovator. Ah, here we go. Here we fucking go again. Innovator? What does innovator mean? Wait. I want to go back through it again. Let's see. Because he already knows anyway, though. I was thinking about it again. Yeah, there's such severe reactions. The internal monologue is always funny, but I'm like, it's fun. We're fine. Given the punk ass thing, he probably wasn't a colonial administrator. Innovator? It could be fun to think that he was a punk. He was a punk ass that. Oh, I dropped my controller. He specifically The answer to his punk background stuff was that he caused a fiery explosion-y thing with the vehicle to get his friends out of a bind, and like the suggestion there might be that he was improvising, so maybe he redirected that chaotic energy as a so-called innovator. Although pirate would be fun too. Here we fucking go again. Not as bad as they said, I swear. I don't know, they said a lot. Of course they did. Big on mouth, small on understanding. You pause for a moment to sigh. You should have known there'd be a confrontation, but you didn't expect it before you even set foot on Zuberi's ship. What do you want me to say? The wolf shrugs. His eyes never leave you. I just want to understand. I don't think it's all there in the file. The file, you scoff. Files are for chair jocks and corpo shills. You operate an Astrogation Guild ship. You know how dangerous your job is. It can get a bit difficult, I suppose. If there's ever been a more diplomatic answer, you've never heard it before. Running into pirates is difficult. Gravitic distortion, destabilizing your I'm gonna have to take this one carefully. Gravitic distortion, destabilizing your causal anchor at 0.8 C in order of magnitude worse. Thank you very much. Depends on the pirate. You freeze up at that. He's joking, right? Surely he's joking. The threat of a pirate blowing your ship out of the sky and the threat of a disrupted causal anchor are... Huh. They're actually pretty similar. At least on a personal scale. You're not entirely wrong, technically speaking. Not that you're wrong either. I've invested a small fortune in our navigational systems and personnel. That much you understand well. If the reports of Zuberi's ship are to be believed, not a word of that is a lie. You can't wait to see it. So that's what I do. You've got the best hardware and the best wetware, but I develop soft. Best soft in the galaxy. Civilian contracts, military contracts, corpo contracts. So as an innovator, they're a software developer, basically. Huh. Good money in that. Best money in that, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I like doing it. The wolf doesn't look convinced. The money is nice, don't get me wrong. It helps fund my efforts, lets me push forward, harder, further, faster, get more done. I'm gonna rewind. I'm not crazy about software developer. Let's be an ex-pirate. Your eyes dart about nervously. The wolf notices, but doesn't reach for his gun. Not yet, anyway. It's an advantage of the visual novel format is that instead of having to over-describe each role, you can have it play out narratively, and if the player doesn't like that particular thing, they can just hit the rewind button, click that back button on the screen, or in my case, left bumper a whole bunch, which is real convenient, honestly. A controller is really nice for Ren'Py once you actually know what the buttons do, because it's not apparent. Like, this is Y, and this is left bumper. Yeah. Not something that you talk about with polite company. I'm not polite, and this isn't exactly high society. The scrubbers nearby cough, and the vents spew a thin coil of smoke into the air as if on cue. No, that it sure isn't. You sigh. He knows this. Why he wants you to say it out loud when anyone could be listening, that's beyond you. It's a test, and you know it. Fail, and you don't get on the ship. Don't get on the ship, and you're left stuck in Yakeshi. That's a death sentence. I was White Fang. Your voice is barely more than a whisper. Zuberi doesn't visibly react to the admission. You don't know what to expect. And what the fuck does he mean, and what? I was a star pirate. I know their rep. No excuses. You close your eyes for a moment. He's taking this well, but then... He knew this, didn't he? But I got out. I thought the rep was all hype and sizzle. I learned too late that it wasn't, and by then I was in too deep. You should have known better than to get in with any star pirates, let alone the White Fangs. You work your jaw from side to side and bare little teeth, grappling with that's all you've done since your first day with the Fangs. That's as in that is, yeah. Like that's all you've been doing. I said no excuses. I was stupid. That's no excuse. I believed a lie. That's no excuse. It's on me. Everything I did's on me. I did things. I did bad things. I may have only been there a year or two, but that's still a year or two too long. Understatement. Things were bad in my life. Nothing was going right. Everything was falling apart. I needed out. I needed a way. I needed to free myself. And when I met Lyda, I thought I found that. She told me the Fangs were different, that they lived free. It sounded nice. Good. The wolf opens his muzzle, but you know what he's about to say. But it's not her fault, what I did. It's mine. No excuses. He closes his muzzle again. His eyes soften. What would be very interesting is if each of these origins, like, touch on a specific faction or character that exists in the world, and then that character or faction also gets wrapped back into the story. That's always been one of the really fun things about a thing like Dragon Age Origins, for example, is that you get to pick a bunch of different races, but then all of those races are actually just the very same civilizations the game's going to be dealing with in one of its chapters, and so you spend an origin in that location, and then you revisit that location during the main story, including the mages being their own separate thing, and that like gives you a more kind of personal flavor to the whole thing, and it kind of lets you touch on that stuff and make it feel more personal, as opposed to just like, hey, I just showed up in this universe, where we going, buddy? He closes his muzzle again, his eyes soften. There comes a point, though, doesn't there? There's a moment. You make a choice. You stand up and don't let yourself do things anymore. Some people don't have that moment. They don't realize what they've done, who they've become. I saw what they were about to do. I wanted to stop them, but I couldn't. Your paws curl into fists. You can still hear Lyda in your mind. Or Lita? Crooning about how it's all going to be okay, the payday waiting for you. Just as soon as the bodies are cool. So I didn't help. I didn't go along with it. Instead, I decided that I wanted out. That I needed out, while I could still save some part of myself. When they went on that raid, I took the time to plan, to scheme, to figure out what I was going to do. After all, you don't walk out on the White Fangs. That's their rule. Once a Fang until you die. No retirement, no outs. You try, you die. So you didn't walk out. You're damn right I didn't. I punched, shot, and blasted my way out. Took as many of them with me as I could. You shudder. Those looks of betrayal will stay with you for a long time. It wasn't just skill, it was a lot of luck. And the rest was broken trust. I did awful things with the Fangs, and I had to do awful things to get to them to get out. The only solace I can take is that I didn't go along with that raid with something so horrible, but I couldn't stop it. So how clean are my paws really? Zuberi remains mercifully silent while you play some of those moments back over in your head. Again, you sigh. Anyway, turning so many of them over to Galsec alive got me free, but not the rest, not Lita. They're still out there, and now I'm marked. So an Astrogation Guild ship out in an uncharted cluster is a good place to hide for a while. It's not a question, he knows the answer. What you don't know is why he'd agree to help you in the first place. Especially if I know some of the systems, can point you away from Fangs. They've prowled everything They've prowled everything 100 lights rimward of here for years. 100 lights rimward of here. So rimward would be away from the core of the galaxy, or solar system or whatever. Probably solar system, because rim worlds, it's like where all the space rock is, the rim. I'm trying to think the right word for it. Are they still called asteroids? Asteroids, I guess, yeah. And then lights would be light years. Although light years, how many light years is the solar system that we live in? I think it's not, right? It's not a light year? So then maybe they mean rim of the galaxy, much bigger than that. Yeah. Because lights probably means light years, and that's pretty far. It's how I got hold of those preliminary charts that got me an intro with the AG. Galsec proposed the post, and here I am. You fixed Zuberi with an even stare. And you're the only one who wanted me. Why? He holds your stare. You can't parse what's going on behind the wolf's eyes any more than you could understand his decision. Maybe I've just gone soft. Nothing about you screams I'm soft to me, except that bit right there. And maybe that other bit sometimes, but not the other times. Clearly you've never met my wife. No! From his tone of voice, you're hoping you'll never have to. That still doesn't tell me why. No, it doesn't. But you don't need to know why it gets you you're out, do you? He's got a point. Guess not, but whatever the reason is, thanks. Honestly, seriously, thank you. The wolf's smile returns. Maybe he is just a big softy after all. The choices you have made have resulted in the following skill values for Rael. 5 is an average. Rael's physical skill is 8. Rael's mind skill is 4. This would be an excellent moment to use the novel mode instead of the adventure mode to like have it scroll out across the screen and be readable all at once. So physical is good, mind is bad. Tech and starship skill are average. I'm surprised that pirate means average starship. Being a pirate, you kind of think you'd be using tech, having to repair and pilot. But I guess maybe it's just his soldier and not the person that deals with that stuff. They also have to be contrasted against the other skills, I guess. Social is 6, weapons is 7. Proceed. The wolf stands up just as the argument between the shopkeep and the rabbit reach a breaking point. Their shouts rise over the station din. I said before, and I'll say it again, no, not at that price. Now dust off or show me the cred. Sam. Oh, were they arguing specifically with your engineer? You stand up as the rabbit, a bit more androgynous than you'd first expected, turns towards you. Their eyes lock on Zuberi and narrow, as if irritated. Let it go, Sam. He's ripping us off, Z. We'll take our business elsewhere. Just walk away. You stand here on my plot and have the gall to call me a con jobber? Where do you get the stones, long ears? There's an expression for you. The rabbit's eyes burn so bright with rage that you fear the lion might burst into flames from their glare alone. The shopkeeper being a lion is fun. It makes me think of Twilight Imperium, where the Emirates are... there's all these different species in that game, but if you play as the Emirates, then you're lion men who live on these big moving capital cities that are on big desert planets, and they even have 3 planets. I like playing them because you could spend the 3 planets separately, which is very versatile. Also, they're lion men. Giant anthro lion men. There's a billion species in those games, but the big hot lion men are always on the cover with the biggest head in the Star Wars amalgam of heads. And I know what they are. I know why they do that. Oh, no. Oh, what? This. This becomes apparent a moment later as Sam leans over the counter to deck the shopkeeper across the muzzle with a sharp right hook. That's a bad idea. This is a bad plan. Does Sam have cybernetic eyes? That's a lot of layers. There's like a reddish layer and a bluish layer, and then there's still the pupil in the middle. Yeah. The lion roars in pain and surprise as Sam bounces back, ears and whiskers twitching madly. The shopkeep tumbles down behind the stall. Your eyes go wide. Still want to see my stones, con jobber? Or maybe knuckles are all ice. Shit. This can only end badly. Captain? The wolf's already on it. He bounds over to Sam and grabs the rabbit around the waist with one thick arm. Sam continues to spit threats and bile at the lion as Zuberi backpedals towards you. As soon as he reaches your side again, he reaches his free paw down to his belt. Sam continues to struggle on his other arm. Oba, you better have our exit right now. 3. A sharp feminine voice chimes from somewhere on Zuberi's belt. Oh, you picked up the stray after all. I do hope this one is better house-trained than Ms. Excuse me? Stray? We're going to pick up weapons fire in a few seconds, Oba. Less attitude, please. Shouldn't we run to the dock? Your ship? Safety? We're gonna teleported, I think. We're fine. We are most certainly not fine. Sam again? Sam. Again. Don't you fucking again me. And you. We're not done here, con jobber. It's not helpful, Sam. This is becoming tiring, Captain. Neither Zuberi nor this Oba seem bothered. Sam, on the other paw, clearly wants to continue the fight. Ahead, the leonine shopkeeper has picked himself up and grasped hold a rifle. It whirs as it powers up. Captain? Now, Oba. Bloop, bloop, bloop. The transporter problem. Did we all just die and get reborn? Who knows? Let's exhaust people again with this discussion. A finger closes on the shopkeeper's firing stud, but you don't get to see the flash of its fire. Your vision vanishes in a sea of white as every thought in your head turns to static. You feel like falling. For a millisecond, you can feel nothing else. Surprisingly clean sci-fi aesthetic, given how we started. It's more Star Trek than Star Wars with the lack of grime. When the light fades, you're no longer on the station. You know what it looks like? It looks like it actually really looks like the buildings in Subnautica. It's totally that vibe. It's partly because it's so bubbly. It's such a bubble-shaped room, and it's so clean and blue. Man, I miss Subnautica. That Subnautica 2 needs to come out tomorrow on my birthday. It's not my birthday tomorrow, but it should be for my birthday. Come out now. Do it. I miss it. You blink the spots out of your eyes as you realize that you've been displaced, teleported from one location to another. You turn your gaze on Zuberi with new appreciation. You... What? The wolf just smiles as he sets the still struggling Sam down, boots first, on the deck. You seem to be in a round, empty room, probably used specifically for displacement. One of this wolf's defining traits so far is that he can just pick people up, casually. The walls gleam white, clean and clearly lovingly maintained. 2 doors rest at opposite ends of the room as the walls rise up to a domed ceiling. A central panel glows softly behind the captain. Your eyes, however, lift up the walls of that dome, and your jaw falls momentarily slack. Can we see space? Stars fill your view instead, as the dome resolves to a large virtual viewport. Aw, is that a real window? Well, that would be really stupid, but... Although I think in Star Trek they're usually like, it's transparent aluminum. It's actually like several feet thick. You can just see straight through it or something. You can't even see the station. How far were you just displaced? It could just not be in that direction, buddy. Your muzzle opens, full of questions just begging to be asked. Zuberi can only smile back at you as Sam pulls free and stumbles to the side. Why dock when you've got the best displacement tech and sensor suite in the known galaxy? Welcome aboard the Void Dreamer, Rael. The Vabbit grumbles and brushes themselves down as you continue to look about the... what? Lobby? Cargo receptor? Displacement platform? I could have taken him. I know, Sam. I would have fucking... I would have fucking liked it. You look... blah, 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 blah. It's about time to take a break, I think. You turn back to your new captain and his engineer. The latter is glaring at the former, who just looks tired. I know that too, Sam, but we're not exactly making a good impression on our new guest. Don't you want to say hello? Sam turns to look you over for the first time since you spotted them. Their nose twitches. Hello. Wow, they're a friendly one. You affect your best smile and offer your paw. Rael, nice to meet you. Sam eyes the offered paw for a moment before they hold out both of theirs. Maybe some other time. I've got work to get to since someone wouldn't let me haggle for a new Starrett's coil. Shooting is not haggling, Sam. It is if you're demanding a better price when you do it. I mean, pretty sure that's just robbery. Pretty sure I didn't fucking ask. Ouch. Fair point. You know where I'll be, Z. Nice to meet you and all that, Rael. It was Rael, right? Well, they know your name. That's something. Yeah, Rael. See you around, Sam. The rabbit makes a non-committal sort of grunting noise and nods to Zuberi. They turn away a moment later, heading to the door on your right. It slides silently open and they step through it. Sorry. It's a little funny to say it slides silently open when you just played a sound effect. That's inherently a little contradictory, isn't it? It slides silently open and they step through it. Zuberi shakes his head slowly to himself as the door closes again. Sam mostly keeps to themselves. They're not a bad person, really. They just have a temper. Have a temper? Don't really like most people. Relatable. Sometimes, anyway. I think what's throwing me off a little bit is I think they picked Zuberi's name color to match his eyes? What was Sam's? Pink. That doesn't match anything. I wonder what the colors are based on. I was like, maybe Zuberi's eye color is what determines his name color, but he's wearing a dark blue shirt. So it's like his defining colors are his like red wolf fur or his big blue or even the gray jacket, but his name matches his eyes. But our name matches his shirt. So it's like when I'm seeing it in my periphery, it keeps feeling intuitive to read the wrong person's name as the other person. Relatable. Sometimes anyway. Well, who knows? Maybe they'll warm to me. I wouldn't hold my breath. Gotta save that for next time you get spaced. You both stare at the door for a few moments after Sam leaves before Zuberi turns back to you again. That line feels strangely placed because we already had a whole chat after they left through the door. Probably should let you know now. I figured I wouldn't be leaving you behind, so I took the liberty of having your belongings displaced to your room. You don't remember telling Zuberi where exactly you stowed your meager personal effects, but the wolf holds up a paw as if ready for the question. Postmaster owed me a favor. Had your movements mapped as soon as we dropped out of warp space. That's a hell of a favor, but thanks. Where's my room? Just down here. All the quarters are down the hall, just through here. He nods towards the door Sam didn't use. You'll have a chance to check everything shortly, but I'm completely certain it's all there. It's not like you had all that much to begin with. No, I guess I didn't. In fact, most of what you still own is on your person right now. You'd feel worried if Zuberi's ship didn't seem so top of the line. You said this was called the Void Dreamer? Sure is. My pride, my joy. She started life as the Sure Shun Dynamics Excelton 2, but she's a lot more than that right now. He leans back against one of the walls and rubs it affectionately. Time was, this ship was all I had. I'm lucky to have a great crew and a great job as well, but she's always been there for me. She'll always be number 2, though, even if it's a close contest. She'll never beat out the other important thing in my life. She smirks. He smirks as you tilt your head. He can't leave a line like that hanging. Come on, don't make me beg. Sorry, my kids, obviously. Rolek and Brisha. Stick around long enough after this tour and you might even get to meet them. They're not aboard? He laughs at that. The tail wag! Also, the careful detail of having a very distinct fly line on the pants because that means that you can accentuate the bulge. I know what furries do. I drew a bulge just like that this week. He laughs at that. Stars, no. They're full-grown and living their own lives. We keep in regular contact. There's a little hitch in Zuberi's voice as he says that. You suspect the contact isn't quite as regular as he would like. And their mother? That makes his expression sour. She's out living her own life, too. We're also in regular contact. Sore spot, noted. Alright, no sense in installing it. Out of the cooker, onto the hot plate, huh? It's time for you to meet Kalea. Which is different from Opa, or Upa? Or the person that they were calling out to before. Was that the ship AI? And not necessarily a character that's on the crew, maybe? Come on. And with that, we're at the 1 hour mark, so it's a good scene transition moment to call it for today. So that's been Void Dreaming. It's just had its first build very recently, and you can check out the rest of what they have so far via the link in the description. If you are an adult who is an adult at the age of 18 or plus, or whatever your country has, etc., adult content, where there be penis and things. Anyway, thanks for watching like always, everyone. You can also check out the other playlist in the description to see dozens more of these videos, to just check out a whole lot more furry visual novels, because I've been doing this for a while now. See you guys next time.